Hey folks, it's Elton here. It's been a while since I've last posted anything. It's been an exciting couple of weeks, but I will keep that for another video. I want to keep this on topic, which is one of the very common questions and things that you should and will ask yourself if you're considering the van life, is how to earn a living. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the top 11 ways that you can earn a living as far as I know and have researched anyway. So let's get cracking. So number one is fairly obvious, your current employer. So with the pandemic, many employers found that actually they didn't need to have their staff in the office all the time, and that obviously there are certain roles like retail where that's not possible, warehouse staff, etc. But for most office type roles, a lot of companies realized that they could actually cut their own costs by letting staff work from home. So it may be possible, if you're not already working from home permanently, to bring it, have a chat with your line manager or your manager, and see if it is something that they are able to negotiate. You could even play a little bit of a discount or a reduction in your annual salary for allowing you to work remotely. But really, that shouldn't be necessary. But typically, if you're going to live the van life lifestyle, you do not need to earn what you would earn when you were a homeowner. Unless, of course, you want to live a lavish van life experience, which kind of defeats the point of van life. But, each to their own. So yeah, that's number one. Try to stick with your current employee if you are employed, of course. Number two, get a new job. So again, with the pandemic, many businesses realized that they don't need to have staff necessarily in the office, and in fact in the UK especially, a lot of people now don't want to return to the office. They feel that it's not necessary. They know that they can do their role from home and have done so for maybe 2 years. So there's a bit more eagerness and willingness from companies to allow people to work remotely full time. Coming from the IT background myself, obviously being in the technology field, I've been working from home for probably 15 years, not full time, maybe three days a week or so. But it's now come to the point with the pandemic where, as I say, many companies realize they don't need you to be in the office, and it saves them money because they can have smaller offices, etc. Number three, being self-employed. So prior to the pandemic, I launched my photography business in June of 2019. It got, as with any new business venture, it takes 12-18 months to really get some traction and earn and be in profit, essentially. Unless, of course, you've got some fabulous idea that just everybody has to have, and then you could have a very successful business probably from week one. But typically 12 to 18 months is the kind of time you can expect a business to be profitable. And then obviously within 8 months of my business launch, COVID struck. We went into our first lockdown in the UK. Managed to just about scrape through that first lockdown by doing remote photo shoots. I'm not a fan personally of remote photo shoots. It kind of takes away that one-to-one interaction with my clients and the people I'm working with. I have a very good rapport with my clients on set, and it just doesn't feel right for me doing remote photo shoots. Then the second lockdown struck and effectively killed off my business. So the point is, I'm trying to relaunch my photography business now with a new niche, kind of aiming at travel brands, travel bloggers, travel magazines, etc., tourist boards, that kind of thing. So that's a new business that I'm effectively having to relaunch now. But yeah, if you've got any skills, web development skills, especially bespoke website build, if you can do the back end programming, there's a big need for websites, because obviously more and more people are going self-employed, therefore more small businesses hitting the market. They all require websites. There are a lot of website developers out there, though. You will be competing with people all around the globe vying for that business. So you've got to stand out from the crowd. You've got to know what you're doing. You can't just be a drag and drop website designer. I do websites in WordPress, Wix and Squarespace myself, but it's not something I wish to, I'm not going to be pushing that moving forward. I really want to focus on my photography services and offerings. But yeah, there are many self-employed roles that you can take. So things like, sorry, I am looking at my notes here, digital marketing, a writer or ghostwriter or blog writer, virtual assistant. Everybody are looking for virtual assistants these days because of the remote working trend, I suppose. An online teacher, which is something I'm actually looking into, teaching English as a foreign language. So yeah, there's quite a few van lifers I'm aware of who do that, and that's the only job that they do. Photographer, web designer, project manager, which again is a skill I have 15 plus years of experience in, and I am considering looking into whether I can just get some contract work as a project manager, just to tide me over while I try to launch or relaunch my photography business. So you can be a blogger, but blogging takes a lot of time. There's the writing element. It's getting your content out there to the world, so it means a lot of time on social media. So if social media is not really your thing, blogging can be a challenge. But blogging in itself does take time to propagate across the internet, for the internet to become aware of your content, and for your website or your blog to build up its SEO rating, essentially, that Google's confident to send people to your content. Or of course you can blog for other people also, either as a ghostwriter, or try to be guest blogs on more established websites. Contact the owners of those sites and see if they're looking for guest writers. There's obviously a lot of other self-employed businesses you could consider. So whatever your skills may be, I know van lifers who craft a lot, and then they sell those items at markets around the UK. I've met painters who basically earn their living painting. I've met buskers. So whatever your talent is, whatever you think people would pay money for, it's worth thinking about. It brings us on to number 4. Number 4, seasonal employer. So there are various seasonal opportunities out there. For example, Amazon often will take on extra staff over the Christmas period or Easter period or bank holidays, etc. A lot of the retail stores do that seasonal type stuff. There's farm work. There are several types of industries out there who are on the lookout for seasonal workers. And again, many of the van lifers in groups that I'm in mentioned that they do that kind of seasonal work, where they'll go and work on a farm or go and work in the retail store over the winter time, work in the farms during the springtime, etc. And remembering, depending on what your idea of van life is and how much you travel, because remember, how often and how far you travel has a big impact on how much you need to earn. Some van lifers don't move at all. They find a pitch somewhere where they basically live forever. So one gentleman I met has been on a campsite for 13 years. So he obviously doesn't need to earn that much money. Besides his pitch fees and food, he's not having to cover the costs of driving around the country and putting fuel in the tank, etc. So, how much you need to earn is going to be down to your lifestyle and what your plans are for your van life experience. Number 5, delivery driver. So it's something that I was looking to do myself, actually, as just to supplement my income when I don't have anything else planned. And with having the bike now, it makes it more of an option, to be honest. But obviously, you've got companies like Just Eat, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, etc., who all need drivers. So if you're capable, if you're willing to do that kind of work, and it's something that's interests you, then that's a very viable option, even if it's just, as it would be for me, not a primary job but a secondary income or third income even, because I know with Uber Eats I've got Deliveroo, I've got a couple of mates actually who work for them. One of them, I think, does it pretty much as a full-time job, and he does okay. I mean, he earns enough for himself, his missus, and his child, paying rent and everything. So yeah, you could make a fair living out of it. And then my other mate, he does it part-time. You clock on when you want to clock on, when you're available. I haven't looked into it that much, so I don't know if there's kind of a minimum hours you've got to do every month before they kind of take you off the books. I'm assuming there would be something like that in there. But typically, from what I understand from my mates, is that you tell Deliveroo when you're available. So as I say, if you find yourself with a few hours to spare in the evening or in the morning, you can go earn yourself a bit of money. Number 6, campsites. So as it happens, I've just taken on a campsite role myself. I'll be a campsite assistant. And my job is with a particular club, one of the bigger clubs in the UK, and there are others. There are groups on Facebook that where people with campsites can advertise for openings, etc. So if you would like that kind of thing, if you're good with people, if you've got a smile, and I do normally have a smile until I come and record myself, that's something that again is very viable. You typically get your pitch included in your contract. You get your electrical hookup included in that, and then obviously you get your hourly rate. Don't expect too much as far as the hourly rate goes. Typically it's around minimum wage to £10 an hour. But again, if your overheads aren't what they used to be, you may find that actually £10 an hour to work on a campsite is exactly what you want to do. And with the bigger clubs, the nice thing is that you can actually, after your contract on that site, you can then go to another site for your next contract. They have summer contracts, they have winter contracts, so you can work just in the winters if you preferred, have your summers off. Winter contracts are a lot fewer because they have fewer sites that are open all year round. But there are opportunities there. So yeah, as I say, I'm starting my job on the campsite on the 20th of May. So that's either yesterday or the day before that when you watch this, or way in the past when you're watching this. So yeah, I will obviously make another video at some point to just let you know what it's like to work as a campsite assistant. I'm kind of looking forward to it, actually. Traveling around on your own. I've been on the road now 9 months. It does get a bit lonely, so it would be nice to be able to interact with people again. And obviously I'll also just drop in there who I am, what I do, and that I'm a photographer, and kind of just try and promote myself through the people I talk to. But yeah, that's another very viable option that a lot of van lifers I know do. So yeah, just Google it, go into Facebook, search for campsite vacancies, etc., and I'm sure you'll find information around that. Number 7, a pet and house sitter. So a lot of people obviously go away on holidays, have pets. It's not always viable for them to take their pets with them, or maybe they just have a house that they don't want to leave vacant. So there are quite a few van lifers I've seen who have mentioned that this is what they do. And they travel all over Europe, not just in the UK. People in Spain want to go away for 2 months, they'll go and drive over to Spain and go and house sit and get paid to do that. And the same with pets. If people have, like I say, they want to going away on holiday, they've got pets they want to leave behind because of one reason or the other, you go and typically park on their driveway, on their property, and look after their pet. So yeah, it's number 7. Number 8 is similar to number 2, which was find a full-time remote working job. Number 8 is temporary remote working jobs, contracts essentially, or 0-hour type work. So again, there are a lot of places where you can find that kind of work. There are websites like Upwork or Fiverr, etc. And Indeed do a lot, and Reed also in the UK do a lot of those kinds of jobs. So if you're just looking for something to tide you over for a few months, a lot of people I've met typically work 3 to 6 months of the year and then earn sufficient money to then cover them for the rest of the year, and then they repeat the working exercise. So maybe you just want a contract for 3 to 6 months, based on your skill set. Again, very similar roles that I mentioned previously, things like virtual assistant, web developer, writer, etc., etc. I will put some links below to some of the more common job sites in the UK, and any Facebook groups and things like that I'm aware of. I'll stick them down in the description below, and I'll keep adding to that. So do come back every now and then and just check it out. Number 9. So when I asked this question in a Facebook group, several people actually mentioned that they were traveling nurses. Obviously, it requires that you're a nurse in the first instance. But if you are qualified as a nurse, it does seem like a very viable option. These people seemingly do very well and are always in demand. So if you're a nurse thinking about the van life lifestyle, you should be okay. But obviously, I'm not guaranteeing anything. Do a bit of research yourself before you take the dive into the van life world. Number 10, an instructor. So instructors could be gliding instructors, abseiling instructors, surfing instructors, diving instructors, etc., etc. Again, they can typically be seasonal. So for example, a diving instructor would typically be working between now May till maybe September-ish. So yeah, if you've got a particular skill like that, those kind of outdoor type experiences, or even yoga, meditation, those kind of instruction, you there's opportunity out there for you to get work around the UK, and possibly in Europe. I'm not sure what the status is working in Europe now with Brexit, if you can work during your 90 days in the Schengen zone or not. I don't know, you have to do your own. I might make another video about that at some point, and if I do, the link will be up here somewhere. And finally, number 11, yoga or meditation instructors, or indeed personal trainer. So again, a few van lifers that I've come across do this as pretty much, that's their full-time thing. That's what they do. They do virtual yoga instruction, you know, and it's typically on a one-to-one. Some of them do multiple. I think it's up to 5 people they'll have on a single Zoom call, and they will teach them yoga or meditation or whatever it may be. So, you know, don't think because you're a personal trainer you have to necessarily be face to face with the person. You know, just make sure that you have enough space on your end that you can show your students what you're doing, so they can follow you along if it's, for example, yoga, etc. So there it is, folks. I hope that's been useful. I hope that's given you some ideas of what's possible out there in respect to earning a living and earning money while you travel. If I've missed anything, if you're a van lifer yourself and you've got some other recommendations or options that people can check out, please do comment below, because I'm still learning myself, guys. As always, be safe, be kind, and be happy. Until next time, cheers.